Ensign Boimler personal log supplemental. Ever since I heard Captain Freeman is selecting candidates for an advanced diplomacy workshop, I've spent almost every spare hour preparing for the interview. I want to make a good impression and avoid any preventable errors. To that end, I've created a program that simulates the entire bridge crew, complete with authentic personality subroutines and stimulus responses. Earlier today, it already flagged 3 of my actions as socially catastrophic. I'm headed back to the holodeck now to give it another try. Welcome back to Hit or Miss Star Trek, the podcast where we continue our ongoing mission to boldly examine Trek's strangest experiments, most questionable holodeck decisions, and occasionally its absolute triumphs. This week, we're continuing our series on holodeck and hologram-related stories, where reality is optional, safety protocols are frequently ignored, and emotional breakthroughs are somehow achieved via narrative simulation. I am regular host Captain Michael Wilson, and I'm joined by our new recurring first officer, Justin Avery Smith. Welcome back, Justin.
Reporting for duty.
And yeah, you were just saying you've caught up on the episodes already that we're going to be reviewing, so you're all raring to go.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And we are very pleased to welcome a special first-time guest to the bridge. I've been trying to get him on the show for a long time, and we finally have. It's internet legend Jason Roy Gaston.
Legend. Woo! That's not really fair. No, legend. that's I would say I'm more like a cryptid than a legend.
Fair enough.
Well, then who's keeping the crypt? No, sorry, yeah, no.
But no, I mean, a legend, and certainly in Trek Talk circles and various places around the social media and the internet. So I think most people will know you from there. So it's finally good to be able to talk Trek with you, and we will be doing that. So yeah, awesome.
I do love to talk the Trek. Yes.
Awesome. Now, in this episode, we are beaming into a double feature from Star Trek Lower Decks, 2 linked entries in one extended holodeck malfunction of identity, storytelling, and increasingly questionable choices. I'm talking, of course, about Crisis Point and Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus. One is a holodeck movie. The other is what happens when that movie gets a sequel and everyone has to live with the consequences. Yep. So with that mission briefing complete, we're going to start, as we always do, with some warm-up sections. We're locking onto our target, setting phases to analysis, and as always, before anything else goes catastrophically wrong, we're beginning with our first section, which is Hailing Frequencies Open.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
And yeah, as you probably know, Justin, you can pretty much take a backseat on this one because we have a first-time guest, which means I get to shine 4 lights in their face and ask them all of the big, important Trek-related questions. So apologies if I put you on the spot here, Jason, but I'm sure these are questions you will have been asked before. So are you ready for your Trek interrogation?
Absolutely, and there are 4 lights.
How are you so mistaken? There's obviously 5.
Awesome. So yeah, the very first question I have to dive into then is what got you started as a Trek fan, and what got you into Star Trek? Can you recall the first episode you saw, maybe that was an episode that made you go, "Ooh, this is something I want to watch more of. I respond to this."
I can actually. I grew up in West Texas, early '80s. We did not have satellite television or anything like that. We had the antenna. And we were way out in the rural area, so we only got maybe 2 channels during the day. So there was not a whole lot to watch. Well, I come home one day, and there's a strange man in our living room, and I'm like, who's this, and what is he doing to the TV? And my mom said, we're getting cable today. I didn't know what that was, but apparently it meant more channels. We went from having 2 channels to having 12, and that was incredible. One of those channels was Showtime. And Showtime was great because they had movies with the dirty parts still in them. So I got to watch movies with dirty parts in them because my parents were super neglectful and they just didn't care. But I'm watching Showtime and I turn on the TV whenever I get home from school, and I'm watching this movie and it has this guy with pointy ears, and he's trying to fix something in this ship so they can get away from this big explosion. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this is incredible. I love this. It was Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Nice.
And so I watched probably like the last 30 minutes of this movie, and I have no idea what it's called. And then, of course, Showtime would replay it later in the day or later in the week. So I watched it again, and I managed to watch it all the way through. Loved it even more. And I noticed it was called Star Trek II, which meant that there had to be a Star Trek I. So we went to this place that we used to have many moons ago called a video rental store, and I found Star Trek the Motion Picture. And I watched that movie on our rented VCR that came in that gigantic plastic clamshell, so you could drop it down a cliff and it wouldn't break.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow, this is the most boring movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to be perfectly clear. My opinion of this movie has changed as I have grown up, because I realized that it was trying to be thoughtful science fiction, and I'm actually quite fond of it now. But 10-year-old me was just like, I'm so bored.
I think it's everyone's first experience with that movie is kind of, it should be called should be called Star Trek the Motionless Picture.
Yes, Star Trek the Motion Sickness.
I think everyone should experience that movie for the first time the way I did, which was like 10 years old and like sick as a dog on the couch. And so I think I was so in and out of consciousness, and like I'm pretty sure I had a fever, and so it was just like, it's something else, like, it's Star Trek, oh, that's cool. It's just like, I was too ill to really care about the quality of the movie.
Yeah, I've definitely grown to like it a lot more, especially when I saw it in the cinema for the 4K re-release. It was a very different experience when you can appreciate what it's trying to do in that way. But I think is it you that makes the joke, Justin, that I'm really fond of, which was in 1979, they remade 2001 for Pride. It's called Star Trek the Motion Picture.
That's me. Yeah, that's me.
I've never heard it put like that, and that was so succinct, and so I was like, geez, you're right as well, actually.
Yeah. I mean, what is Star Trek if not the gayest science fiction, as gay as sci-fi was allowed to be in the 60s, 70s, and also the poster is literally the pride flag.
It really is, exactly, yeah.
And it's a beautiful poster, too. I love that poster.
Oh, yeah, no, I love the poster.
You can't tell me there's anything straight about Dr. McCoy's chest hair at the start of that movie either. So.
No.
Oh, God, no. He looks like he came off the set of Saturday Night Fever.
Listen, I'm not one to usually put meaning to something where there is no meaning. All I am saying is that Kirk and Spock definitely know what each other tastes like.
Oh, I mean, just read Gene Roddenberry's novelization of the motion picture.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Listen,
whether it was just a lonely night or whatever, they know. They know.
Listen to William Shatner in an interview say, "Oh yeah, Kirk and Spock, they're gay."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Spock, the very first ever fan shipping. But anyway, but despite that detour, I'll come back to the questions at hand. So the next one that I was going to ask would be, and again, sorry, this is going to be quite a big question. If you had to pick 3 episodes or movies from anything, all of the Star Trek canon, to show somebody that wasn't into Star Trek, you think represent the best of the franchise? Or if you want just your 3 favorites, which 3 would you pick?
Oh my gosh, that is a loaded question. I had to pick 3 episodes to get people into Star Trek. Wow.
Well, or if you'd rather just pick your 3 favorites and just be like, I don't care if anybody else likes them or not.
I like the first version of this question. Don't try to back out. Okay, well, I would choose probably The City on the Edge of Forever from Star Trek, the original series. From Star Trek, The Next Generation, I'm going to cheat on this one, but it would be The Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and 2.
That's fine. 2 parts count as 1 in my book. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm only counting that as 1 episode. And then I would go straight to Deep Space Nine, and I would pick the episode Duet.
Okay, wow.
Because I single-handedly transformed a guy into a Star Trek fan just by that 1 episode. Because he was just like, I don't like Star Trek. I've never watched it, and you can't change my mind. I was like, okay, well, here, try this one. And he was transfixed for the entire hour. He was just like, I had no idea this show was like this.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's very popular. We reviewed that just the last series actually, because we were doing Cardassian and Bajoran stories. So we reviewed that one, and it's a very, popular isn't the word. It's profound and powerful. So yeah, awesome. Well, that was a very quick response for the 3 episodes question. So let's see if you're as quick on the next one, which would be if you have to pick 3 characters that you relate to the most, or 3 favorite characters from all of the Trek canon. Who would they be?
Okay, 3 characters that I relate to the most. Okay, my answers are going to be so weird on this one. Number 1 would be Wesley Crusher.
Wow.
And
okay.
I say that because growing up, Wesley Crusher was the person I wanted to be. I wanted to be on this spaceship. I wanted to be working out in the galaxy saving people. And, I honestly thought Wesley Crusher was the coolest. And then when the internet came along, I learned that everybody hated him, and I was like super upset by that. But not trying to brag, I was of higher than average intelligence growing up. I was not very well liked growing up. I know, surprise, like, you were not well liked? No, I was not. People found me annoying.
Shut up, Jason.
I
Sorry.
know.
sorry, I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
Well, since I am done here, sir, I wish on Prodigy they could have given Wesley a line that said "shut up" to somebody. Shut up, Dal.
Yeah.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley. No.
Two other characters that I identify with the most. Oh boy, see, I'm having a harder time with this one than I was the last one. I'm going through in my head. I would probably say Dr. Bashir, in the fact that I get super excited about things, and I kind of get verbal diarrhea and end up saying things that may be like crass or insensitive, and I don't realize it later. And of course, you're secretly genetically engineered. So. Perhaps
he's got the genetically engineered super intelligence.
Well, I don't know about that. I did find out later it was autism, but
Oh my God!
So yeah,
that's our own version of genetic engineering.
Take Dr. Bashir, take out the genetic engineering, throw in a bunch of the tism, and you've got me right there. Yeah. Also, if I try to operate on somebody, I will probably kill them.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh. 3rd one. I'm like reaching for any of this case. I would have to say, I'm having difficulty with this one.
Dang.
I'm having a lot of difficulty picking a 3rd character. I think that's one of the things that appealed to me about Star Trek, was that I really didn't see myself in a lot of these characters. I saw people to look up to more than anything else. So I didn't really see myself.
I see what you mean. I'm a kind of a combination of the both, because I always kind of I think I'd like to believe I could be Picard, but that's more of an aspirational thing. But I'm actually very like kind of Data or Spock or all of the autism coded characters, and I'm like, I do not understand what you talk about.
So, I will say, as somebody who is a Boimler with dashes of Picard, I can tell you that like. And specifically, like, when it comes to the Picard thing, like, for one thing, like, like being like the last and like the line of your family for one thing, and also like, like when out, like not really like acting as a kid when you were a kid, and like that sort of thing. Exactly. It's I'm happy to say I'm much more comfortable around kids than Picard is, but that's a low bar to clear. So
I also. I do remember the 3rd character that I picked was actually Saru, because I really want to be heroic, but I'm paralyzed by being a coward.
Well, maybe one day your ganglia will fall out, and that'll change everything.
Maybe one day. We live in hope.
There's always hope.
I actually got to talk to Duck Jones not too long ago. We got to interview him. Wow. He's awesome. He's a sweet human being.
Awesome. So sorry to interrupt. Anyway, can you think of a 3rd character, or are we putting you 2 on the spot with that?
You know what? I'm gonna say Rock Talk from Prodigy.
Oh, such a good choice.
Because I am sweet, I'm innocent, I get super excited about things, but I will destroy you on accident one day. and I
Such a good-
apologize in advance. I'll feel
You really want to
bad
just
about
be a
that.
scientist, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Thank
want to be
Rock
want to
that.
be a scientist, but everybody's like, "Look at you, you're gigantic. Why would you do that?"
Why won't you just
I
be a
appreciate the
security
warning.
officer? Yeah, awesome. So yeah, the big question then: favorite series out of all of the current ones that exist?
Out of all the current ones, like, what do you mean current ones? Like the ones that are
Well,
still
all of the
airing?
Trek. Now that there are so many, I think there's what 12.
Out of all of them, okay.
Yeah.
Probably Deep Space Nine
Okay.
would be my absolute favorite. And then from there, my estimate of what's second favorite definitely changes a lot. You know, Next Generation, Prodigy for me is like high up there. I think Prodigy is an extremely underrated series, so I will always champion Prodigy to people who've never seen it.
Oh, absolutely. We're reviewing Kobayashi next week, so looking forward to that one. So,
That's
yeah, I love
the
Prodigy.
and again, that's the show I wish I had when I was like a kid, and like especially since it aired on Nickelodeon. Like I wish that could have aired alongside like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents. Like could have used that, and but no, it's like no, you have to watch Enterprise.
So so final question, you'll be glad to hear then, Jason, as we are doing kind of holodeck, hologram related things this season, do you have any favorite or even least favorite holodeck, holosuite, hologram character, things that you wanted to shout out from, again, anything, anywhere in the franchise?
Like a favorite holodeck character or
anything you want. It can be a storyline, it can be a particular program, it can be an episode, anything at all that you think is worth mentioning for good or for bad.
I think probably one of my favorites would be Our Man Bashir, where they go into that big James Bond adventure, and just because Avery Brooks, I've heard all the stories about how Avery Brooks was not happy in his role on Star Trek, but he felt like he couldn't leave because he was in a position where he was a role model to black youths. He was a father who stuck around, and he said he couldn't really leave that. But to see an episode like Our Man Bashir, you can see he's got this twinkle in his eye the entire time, and he is having so much fun, and there is a joy to that.
Yeah,
and of course that gives us my favorite Cisco line, which is "Ha!"
Yeah,
we'll put that to bed then in the Hailing Frequencies Open section, and we'll move on to the next section. The next section is the one that gives the podcast its name. It is the hit or miss section.
What about my performance?
I'm not a drama critic.
So, I've been through this a few times, but now we're on 90-odd episodes. But for the benefit of any happening to be joining new viewers, and for Jason as a first-time guest, the hit or miss section is basically where I throw out anything from anywhere in the Star Trek universe, ask if it's a hit or a miss, we debate back and forth, come up with a consensus, and then move on to the next thing. And because we're doing hologram-related things, there will be some of those mixed in, but I also like to mix it up and have other things as well. So, is that all clear, Jason?
Yes. No. Yes.
Awesome.
No.
maybe.
It'll be clear as we go. So,
Very well. Okay.
So, yeah. We normally do 4 or 5. I might stick to just 3 this week because we have 2 episodes to cover, albeit shorter ones. So, I'll dive in first with a combination of things. It is hologram related, and it's also a ship because I do love doing ships. So, hit or miss, and it will be appearing on screen when it's ready. Hit or miss for the Federation holo ship, I believe from Star Trek Insurrection and nothing else. Jason, as the guest, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Miss. It's a miss for one spectacularly stupid reason. If the Sonai had just put that stupid thing in orbit and not under the water, they would have gotten away with it.
I never even thought of that, but yeah, I mean, why was it underwater? Anyway.
There was no reason. Just put the damn thing in orbit. You win. That's it.
Yeah.
So, weren't there people in this village yesterday? That's so strange. What's happening to the rings? Oh, no.
Fair enough. I mean, you don't want to comment on the aesthetics or anything of it? You just simply, like, no, it was dumb to land it.
it's a elongated cube. I mean, the front end of it looks like a Rolls Royce with headlights, but, no, it looks like the Batmobile, actually. It looks like an ugly Batmobile.
Yeah, it does not look as good as the Batmobile.
I also despise the movie, so that's.
Oh, wow, okay, that is a very hot take.
It's the second worst Star Trek movie, in my opinion.
What's the first? Section 31, right?
Section 31 is an abomination that should be burned.
Yep. Yeah. I can't disagree with you on that one anyway.
Yeah,
not so much the insurrection hatred, but
yeah, I can't in good conscience hate insurrection. Sorry.
No,
Well,
it's
it's got its moments. I will say it's got moments that make me smile. So it's not completely worthless. I don't hate it completely like I hate Section 31 because there's nothing in Section 31 that appeals to me at all. It's got its moments, but not many. I find it just to be a very dull movie. That's all.
It's just rubbish. I own every bit of Star Trek that exists on like whichever format it's available, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, but I don't own Section 31. And I keep looking to see if it's gone down to a price where I can justify buying it for completism's sake, and it still hasn't quite gone there yet. It's down to like £9 at this point, and I'm like, nah, still too much.
Yeah.
I honestly think your best bet is just to keep checking the sidewalk, see if a stray copy is just like on the, because honestly, I think free is an appropriate price.
My car got broken into. They smashed a window, took nothing, but left a copy of Section 31 in the driver's seat.
Oh, classic joke.
I can't believe it. But anyway, so over to you, Justin, as we bring it back to relevance here. Federation Holoship, hit or miss?
It's it's fine. I know that's not hit or miss, but I mean, like, it's because it's not like a hero ship, but it's also not like a shuttlecraft, and the fact that it's literally just a floating holodeck, like, it doesn't really elicit emotions from me at all. And the fact that it makes you think more like of something from Star Wars or Alien, in that how it looks very, like, it looks just very like generic and like utilitarian in its design, and how it, like, it doesn't. So I mean, like, but it'd be kind of weird also if they made it like, if they suddenly chose to design a holo ship, which is more of a plot device to make it aesthetically pleasing. But
yeah. I can see.
I guess miss in that regard then, because it's like, oh well, because this could have been an opportunity where it's like, well, you didn't have to make what could be just a standard holo ship so aesthetically pleasing, but hey, here you go. But no, I can't say that about this. So yeah, I guess it's a miss. I hate to say, because I will. It's a good, not great movie, Insurrection. I will still defend Insurrection with my dying breath, but not this.
I think I've said ever since Insurrection came out, it's a fantastic 2-part episode of Next Gen. It's just a shame they decided it was a movie.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the fact that it's a 2-part, it's a feat. But TNG is objectively the greatest TV show that's ever been created. So, and I will not be elaborating on that because I'm correct. So,
I will allow it, and it's my podcast, so there you go. But anyway, but I kind of have to agree with you, but I always thought the Federation Holoship was a miss, just because you could have at least made some effort to make it look like something. It's just a box. It's just kind of like, I mean, I know this is really geeky, but like, where are the nacelles? Where's the warp engines? Where are all the things you need other than just, it's just a slab of metal. Come on, man.
Yeah,
give it something.
Yeah, and like I said, it looks like something out of Star Wars. It makes you think of, in Star Wars, they don't have nacelles on their ships. They just have like a glowy bit at the back.
Yeah. Which is fine, because that's what that's what hyperdrive is. Like, that looks, fine for them, but it doesn't even look like a Star Trek ship. It's just kind of there, and it's like, anyway,
it's beige paint. It is the beige paint. Okay, I'm just suddenly turning to Dr. Evil. You are the margarine of spaceships. You are the Diet Coke of spaceships. Just one calorie, not spaceship enough.
Well, I'm going to move to the next thing on the list. The next thing is kind of related to the previous thing in a sense, actually. So it's a hologram-ish episode, an episode from Star Trek: The Next Generation called Homewood, from the, I think, 7th season.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to mix it. I'll mix it up and come to you first, Justin. And for the benefit of any audience members who don't know, Homewood is the episode in which Worf finds his foster brother is amongst a group of somewhat primitive life forms who are about to have their planet destroyed. And the idea is to try and relocate them. But, Prime Directive, we can't do it. So they effectively, ultimately, spoiler alert, beam them into a holodeck that looks like their home and relocate them without their knowledge. And that's that. Yeah. So anyway, just hit or miss for this episode.
Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, I'm gonna look like a real jackass if I say miss, even though I kind of want to. But
Say what you want. It's your decision. You're
I know. But I
optimal.
just called TNG objectively the greatest TV show of all time. So the fact that I say, "Oh, this episode's a miss," then I'm gonna look like a real.
177 episodes. It's allowed one miss.
Well, like, yeah, and the one miss is Code of Honor.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
So to give it to but okay, well, it's better. Okay, so I'll say miss, but still better than Code of Honor. Having my cake and eating it too.
What are you not fond of the episode HoM?
Well, because the fact that it just sits in this weird like middle ground to me, in the sense that it feels almost like a early blueprint for Insurrection, but also that it doesn't. But also because it's not a two-parter, and so it had. But also, it just kind of feels like a retread of Who Watches the Watchers, which, in my opinion, tackles the same themes but better. So,
yeah.
The fact
it does at least have Worf and his brother in it, though, doing a bit of family, family bonding.
Okay, also I think that's the other thing is maybe this isn't an episode that, unlike Who Watches the Watchers, I haven't maybe like independently like revisited and been like, oh wow, wait, I want to like read because that moment made me like think or something like that. But it just kind of feels like it does all the same stuff that episode does, but with the gimmick of the holodeck attached to it, and and Morse Brothers, Paul Sorvino, because why the hell not? But anyway,
why not? The late great.
I know exactly. I just think it's interesting to me that interesting. It's one of those things where the casting choice almost kind of the star power almost like takes you out of it just a bit. I don't know, but maybe that's me. Maybe that's me. It's one of the reasons why they don't usually. Yeah, sometimes they don't cast A-listers in or like high profile names in like smaller roles because they know like it's gonna pull people out of it. But I feel.
Fair enough.
I think I'm just gonna shut up because I feel like
I feel like we've got enough reasons why it's a miss for me, but that's fine.
Exactly. Because I feel like I've just been running my mouth, and I.
Hey, don't worry about it. You're allowed to have an opinion, even if people like the episode. I don't think you've said anything unfair, so that's fair enough. So Jason, how about you? What do you think of this episode? Hit or miss?
It's a miss because
the
Prime Directive is supposed to keep you from interfering with cultures. It's not supposed to be a death sentence.
Yeah,
and I think that's what takes me out of this episode the most is that Picard and the Enterprise crew are so callous and unempathetic to this dying civilization. We've seen them come to the aid of dying civilizations before. This is not something new, but all of a sudden this episode is like, oh no, they're going to die and there's nothing we can do about it. To me, the holodeck idea probably would have worked if it had been the plan from the very beginning. Oh, we're going to save these people. We're going to take them to this other planet and we're going to put them down. Then they'll never know we're here. And then on the way, things start going wrong. I actually thought that one of the strongest points of this was when one of the villagers accidentally bumbles out of the holodeck.
Yeah.
And then ends up, committing suicide later because he couldn't deal with it. That brought some heaviness to it. But overall, I could not get over the idea that these space heroes would be perfectly content saying, well, there's nothing we can do. It's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a sad speech and that's it.
I think part of it is that they wouldn't have moved anyway, though, because they were that stubborn. I mean, it's that era where it was like, this is our land and we'd rather die here than move somewhere else kind of thing. But to that end, I think that's why I think of this as a miss, because I just don't like that the ultimate solution is just deceive them and be fine with it. And I'm kind of like, oof. Like that's really uncomfortable for me. Like, we'll put them in the holodeck and they'll think they haven't moved anywhere, but they're actually on a whole different planet. Like, that's not cool. that's just gaslighting an entire civilization.
Like said, we're not going to intervene. We're just going to gaslight them. Totally different.
Exactly. So not fun. Although I do like, you, as you said, the kind of powerful dramatic parts of the episode, and I did like the stuff with Worf and his brother and how they are estranged and they kind of have to come together in the end. And there's bits of the episode to like. So I don't think it's it's not a disaster. It's definitely not Code of Honor, as we said, but I still think it's a miss for me. So wow, we are not doing well this week. So I will do one more, as I said. We'll stick to 3 and then move on to our reviews. And the third one is a ship. Because I like ships, but it's not really holodeck related. And I'm really intrigued to hear what you guys think of this, because it is from Starfleet Academy. And the image I have on screen is the best I could find, but it is a wireframe, so apologies. Hit or miss for the USS Miyazaki. Jason, over to you first for this one.
I don't remember that one.
It's pretty important to. Have you seen Starfleet Academy?
I have seen Starfleet Academy. I'm just trying. Oh no, that's the one from that one episode where like they kill off the Vulcan dude, right?
Yes, it's basically the training exercise one where they go to the abandoned ship and yeah.
Okay. It was dumb. It was very dumb. Because why on Kalus's green Earth would you take literal children to an abandoned spaceship out in unmonitored space and say, we're going to put you on this derelict spaceship and you have to run this training simulation? You have holodecks on Earth where it's safe. You can drag this ship with you back to Earth where it's safe. Why put literal children in a dangerous situation and then get one of them killed? I'm sorry, Starfleet Academy should be getting sued by some Vulcan parents right now. And if they don't have a line where Captain Aki's sitting in that chair, you know, with her head down and her feet up, going, "Oh man, we're getting sued. Oh, you remember that Vulcan kid? His parents are suing the hell out of us."
Gross negligence! I can't believe it.
And then, you know, Laura Thawk is over there going, "Well, if they was my children, I would have killed you personally."
Exactly, but yeah, I mean, so that's not really the ship's fault though. So aesthetically speaking, and whatever else, what are your thoughts on the Miyazaki specifically?
I mean, it's fine. It's cool. It's a cool looking ship for as little as we saw it.
I have my issues with it, but I'll wait until like come onto my turn because
it's hard to gauge it from this hologram. And I'll have to be honest, I watched the episode once and haven't revisited it. But I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't really have a major problem with it.
I'll point out my issues with it and see if it's if it makes sense when I get to it. But yeah. But anyway, first of all, just over to you.
Yeah, I mean, first off, leave the Lord of the Flies shit to the Talarians.
Okay.
but I do kind of have to, you know, agree where it's like, I mean, I do kind of like it does kind of remind me, like aesthetically, it kind of reminds me of the Miranda class, which is admittedly a little bit played out, and how there's all these classes that kind of look like Miranda but are called something different because they have like one minor aesthetic tweak, but that's a different story. And so it definitely is one of those things where it's like, yeah, sure, it looks nice, but the shit that went down.
Okay, so we'll hit or miss then.
Oh, hit up. Jason, help me stall for time. No, you don't have to do
Well,
that.
you see, whenever I was a boy, I saw this. Whenever I was a boy, my brother was killed in Starfleet Academy, and we sued the hell out of them.
Okay, hit, because there was a lawsuit. It went through. I know, but
okay, all right. Well,
and,
I mean,
and also
really...
we had two misses, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, so I don't want to.
I was going to say, you know what I'm going to say anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a miss, and I'm going to mini rant incoming because there are a few versions for this. First of all, this is officially labeled as a Constitution class ship, which makes it not only like the 5th or 6th available, but the second that's in service at the same freaking time, which doesn't make any sense to me. There's already a 32nd century Constitution class. What are we doing with that? That really bugs the crap out of my autistic senses because I'm just like, no. I
think that will bug out of Spectrum or not. That just should bug you.
So I hate that for starters. I hate the fact that if this was a ship that was in Strange New Worlds, I think I would love it because it's fine. But it clearly is a Strange New World ship. It was blatantly designed for that show. They beam on and reuse the Enterprise sets from Strange New World in the episode. They find a comic book where everybody's wearing Strange New Worlds uniforms, and this is just basically a slightly altered Strange New Worlds Constitution class ship, which doesn't make any sense in the 32nd century. So I just got so bugged by every aspect of it. I was like, it's out, it's in the wrong time. It's got a stupid class name. It doesn't fit at all with the aesthetic you've established for the 32nd century. Like, there's no floating parts or anything. It's just Constitution class with a few little minor tweaks. So yeah, it's a miss for me, and I got really unnecessarily annoyed by it. Apologies if anybody thinks I was overreacting, but I take my ships very seriously, okay? And yeah, you could have used any of your 32nd century designs, so why did you do this? I don't know. It bugged me. The sheer silence from you guys as you're just like, what the fuck's he talking about?
I think it's just consider it a silent agreement. It's a silent, it's a moment of silence for your very accurate observations.
We'll leave that there as I try to win the audience back anyway, slowly. And we'll leave it here on this section and we'll head into the main bulk of the episode, which is going to be the analysis of the 2 Lower Decks episodes that we mentioned earlier.
Spark analysis.
Starting with Crisis Point. Now, in Crisis Point, Mariner repurposes Boimler's holodeck program to cast herself as the villain in a Lower Decks style movie. As I'm sure we all know, we're all familiar with it. I do have my usual poetry corner that I've been doing for these last few series, and I always give the guests and whatnot a heads up now to see if there's anything they want to add creatively to it, because I've got my my haiku and my limerick for each of these episodes actually. So let me just come to you first of all, Justin, and ask, have you prepared anything for us for this week? Or
I should have.
No, it's okay. You don't have to. It's all good. So what about you then, Jason? I do recall asking you and mentioning to you that you could contribute if you wanted to, but it's not a prerequisite.
I can attempt.
No, hey, by all means, you don't need to, but if you want to, you absolutely can. So.
Okay.
Slam poetry. Yeah.
Crisis Point 3, slam poetry.
Yeah.
Nice.
The odd number ones are always the weakest. Sorry. I can't help.
Fair enough. Well, I've got my things ready here, so I'm going to go with I think I'll start with my haiku. Why not? And then we'll jump back into the limerick after I've done the BTS, and hopefully I remember. So my haiku, as always, it's the usual 5-7-5 traditional standard. So I'm just trying to fit it into that whilst also making it make sense. Might not necessarily be funny or powerful, but I'm in the middle of writing a book of these, and I'm trying to just come up with them for the sake of it now, I think. So anyway, my haiku to try and sum up Crisis Point is as follows. Mariner is mad, makes Boimler's program her film. Now that's therapy.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I think it summed up all the key points. So I'm going to jump into the BTS section next, and I'm going to read through all the things because I have quite a bit of information here.
I have a point.
Oh, you do? Oh,
yes.
Sorry, my bad. I thought you were saying you didn't want to do.
No, I was being catty.
Oh, I see. You were being cold. Yes,
I was being catty. All right. So here we go.
This
is called Crisis Point. Upon the holodeck's glowing stage, a training sim became pure rage. Mariner, dressed for vengeful crime, made mommy issues widescreen time. The Cerritos soared with movie grace, a workhorse ship in beauty face. Vindictus screamed, the torpedoes flew, and somehow therapy happened too.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
I love that. Put me to shame. That's fantastic work. Excellent. I love that. Oh, thank you so much for contributing. That was brilliant. That hit every note. I can't fault that. Excellent work. So looking forward to hearing if you've got another one for Crisis Point too. Maybe we'll see. But first of all, I'm going to go through the behind the scenes information for this episode. If you guys want to contribute anything or you want to chime in and ask any questions or comment on anything, feel free. Otherwise, it might be a bit dry. But for now, I'll try and get through all that I can. So and when it comes to Crisis Point, just one itself, this episode features parallels to the Star Trek Next Generation episode Hollow Pursuits, as well as several of the Star Trek films. For example, the flyby that the bridge crew does with the Cerritos nearly replicates the flyby with Kirk and Scotty from the Enterprise in Star Trek The Motion Picture that we were just mentioning earlier. One of the many reasons it seems to take about 25 years since we have a 20-long scanning the ship scene. The musical score during the flyby evokes the main theme of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The lens flare, the ship breaking frame, and all sorts of beaming stuff are from Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. The signatures of the participants of the program appearing is similar to that of the cast of Star Trek VI, appearing at the end of that film. The photon tube in the middle of a forest is similar to after Spock's burial tube, soft lands on Genesis, again at the end of Wrath of Khan. The crash landing of the Cerritos recreates those of the Enterprise D in Star Trek Generations and the Enterprise in Star Trek Beyond. Excuse me. Mariner quoting The Tempest as Vindicta is similar to General Chang frequently quoting Shakespeare in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, and Khan Noonien Singh quoting Moby Dick in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. The warp effect title sequence for the simulation resembles the Next Generation's 5th season. Mariner compares Boimler's role in her movie to Zon, noting that his role likely wouldn't make the final cut. The character of Zon, that's Xon, was originally supposed to have a significant role in the cancelled project Star Trek Phase 2, but didn't survive its transformation into Star Trek the Motion Picture. Zon was eventually referenced in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So, yeah, I do remember hearing that when I was much younger. When Crisis Point, The Rise of Vindicta starts, the aspect ratio of the episode changes to reflect that often seen in a movie, as Jason's poem hinted at, I think. The aspect ratio is limited to the holodeck itself, though, as seen when Tendi exits the program later on, and there's also a film grain effect added to the scenes in the holodeck. The episode is about a minute longer than other episodes of the show. Mike McMahon requested an additional minute of animation for the scene in which the crew inspects the Cerritos in space dock, as a reference to the similar scene in Star Trek the Motion Picture. The network agreed, but refused another request by McMahon to release a movie-length version of the episode, where that said scene would be stretched to a 2-hour duration. Spoil sports. Artwork of a beach landscape hanging in Admiral Vassary's office within the Crisis Point holoprogram is a reuse of the Hawaii beach program that Mariner called up in Second Contact. And this episode, of course, confirms that Carol Freeman and Beckett Mariner are mother and daughter, but that is kept a secret from the rest of the crew. So, anything there that stands out that's relevant or important in any way, guys? You wanted to comment on?
When was Zon referenced in Star Trek 2? I don't remember that.
I don't know, but this information comes from Memory Alpha, so I presume it's accurate. But,
I believe them. I just don't remember that. Maybe he was on the PA or something.
I think it probably is a kind of a background, like Lieutenant Zon to the bridge or whatever in one of the simulations or something like that. But no, I don't recall either.
Please keep your eyes out for Lieutenant Zon. He is still missing. Last scene going into the holodeck.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the actor who was going to play Zon, David Gutrow, is briefly in the start of the motion picture. He's the guy on the unfortunate space station that gets destroyed.
Yeah, so that's what happened to Zon.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Deidre spat him back up and turned him into a Vulcan.
So, I'll give you guys my limerick, even though it's going to look a little bit weak compared to Jason's now, because it's only 5 lines. But my limerick for the episode Crisis Point is as follows. Mariner and Freeman are enraged. Boimler's holodeck program sets the stage. With a nod to Trek's celluloid life, Beckett works out her inner strife and gets everyone on the same page. So, yeah, neat, I think, and gets to the point, but not quite as good. I think you kind of put me to shame a little bit on that one, Jason. We'll say about... No, by all means, don't apologize. It was good work. So, before we get diving into the various sections, writing, directing, acting, etc. of the episode, I do like to go around and ask general thoughts, and if you can remember what your thoughts were the first time you saw the episode, first coming out of it. So, again, Jason, since you're our first-time guest, do you recall what you initially thought of the episode, and what are your general sort of, as spoiler-free as possible, thoughts on what the episode does and its overall sort of effect on you?
The first time I saw this episode, I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with Lower Decks from the very beginning. So, seeing them make fun of the Star Trek movie tropes, the grand music, the sweeping starship shots, and just basically movie cliches all around, having the main crew on jet skis at one point. I just love that kind of stuff. I was just thinking, this is, I think this is when Lower Decks found its footing.
Yeah.
Managing to balance character moments with the humor and just gently poking fun at Star Trek. Because, Lower Decks could have easily been Family Guy in space, but they decided, we're going to actually explore these characters. We're going to let them grow. And we see growth here. And I just think it was really well done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You basically said exactly the kind of thing that I would have said, which is that it does a great job, I think, of balancing the humor, being relevant in terms of the humor. It's all kind of stuff that I think even fans have been saying that we can take the mick out of, for years and years. So it is kind of with a nerdy affection. You can kind of tell that Mike McMahon and the writers are Trek fans. They're not coming at it from a place of vitriol. And then it balances that with actual ongoing arcs and character growth, as you said. We get quite a bit of it in this episode. So, yeah, but obviously the main thing, as you kind of said, we should start with is the movie parody type thing of it all. I just remember the first time I saw this, how absolutely just hilarious. I found it that they were mimicking the Enterprise flyby from the motion picture, but making it as over the top as they possibly could. Like, like the chief engineer actually in tears and Shaq's trying to comfort him, kind of like it's such a beautiful thing. And then the ship too, spinning around with all the lights reflecting off it and everything. I was just like, oh wow, these guys just get it. They understand. Yeah. And I do love when they're having the kind of briefing. And Boimler just turns to somebody and goes like, "This was real. They'd actually send the Enterprise, but poetic license." Yep, fair enough. So, what about you? Just an initial thoughts on the episode overall and the kind of A plot, I suppose, of the Trek movie parody of it.
No, yeah, same. I mean, I loved it. Like I pretty much I echo all those same exact sentiments. I mean, just think about it. I mean, although I have seen that slow ship reveal of the Cerritos on double speed, and it still feels long.
Well, it's not 2 hours long, though.
And definitely not. I'll give you that. But yeah, and also I kind of wish the Lower Decks was Family Guy in space, because that would mean it was brought back from cancellation and went on for another 20 years.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That would be nice. Yeah. Exactly. I think it could have run. That's one of the things I've always said. I think it was definitely cancelled before its time. It could have ran as long as Family Guy or American Dad or The Simpsons. There's plenty of room to tell these stories, and McMahon did want to. He keeps on saying, So, but anyway, we Paramount, I think, do as they please, as we often do. So yeah, it sucks. It really does. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, my thoughts were more or less the same as I've already said on the episode. So diving a little bit into the writing, then I should mention that both these episodes, Crisis Point 1 and 2, are written by Ben Rogers. Not someone I'm familiar with, but clearly he knows these episodes if he wrote them both. I have to ask both of you, are there any kind of Star Trek Easter eggs in this episode that you think stand out, that you are particularly fond of? And again, Justin, I'll come to you just to mix it up a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I did take notes of my thoughts as I was rewatching the episode and whatnot, and no, it's just pretty much Easter eggs and whatnot. I mean, for one thing, I think J.J. Abrams is never going to live down the lens for their jokes. I mean,
nor should he.
Although I will say, as a Boimler, I take being a red-shirted henchman in Mariner's movie personally.
I'm Shemp. I was gonna be Boimler.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I take that personally.
Yeah. Fair enough. I can kind of see that. So how about you, Jason? Was there any other kind of Trek Easter eggs or anything that stood out to you that you thought were fun?
Oh boy, there were so many. I think my favorite though was the sign off at the end, where the signatures appeared during the end credits. That was just like the perfect cherry on top of this self-referential Sunday, and I absolutely loved it. There's just so much in this episode. Like I could talk about it for an hour, but I don't want to, so I'll just say the sign off at the end.
I mean, you're to the right place.
Yeah, that's very true. I have to say, neither of you have mentioned it, so I'm going to bring it up. The fact that the episode starts with the Antikins and the Soleil from Next Gen Season 1 was such a deep cut Easter egg that I was like, whoa. Again, you kind of know these people are fans, because I don't think that's something anyone's thought of since 1988. but I appreciated it, and the humor of the kind of without our influence, and then they start licking their lips and kind of you get Freeman go, we give you replicators if you rather than stop eating the other species on the planet. So appreciate all of that.
Yeah, doesn't Captain Freeman basically say, screw the Prime Directive? I'm like, that sounds like Starfleet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because you kind of has to at that point, because Mariner's already been kind of just don't do this. You're eating the other people. But
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of feeds into what I was going to go with next, because that's Mariner's kind of arc, I think, throughout, is that she does want to be Starfleet, but she also doesn't necessarily go along with some of their more ridiculous concepts or things that stifle her morality, which is fair. It's good. It's not like she's doing it to be an arse. So what do we think of Mariner in this episode? It's one big therapy session for her, even though she does say it's the 80s and we don't have psychological problems. So yeah, what about Mariner then, Jason? What do we make of her sort of arc through the episode? And is she the main character? I was going to ask, perhaps.
I think she is the main character, but you don't realize that until you've actually seen the episode. Because the first time I watched this episode, I was enjoying it, but I thought, wow, they really dialed Mariner up to an 11, and she's really going off the rails. And then at the end, I realized what they were doing, what they were going for, and I thought, oh, I need to rewatch this with this new perspective that they've given me. And to me, that's always the sign of a really good episode. Was whenever they give you a new perspective and you immediately want to revisit it with that new information. But yeah, this is definitely Mariner's episode.
Yeah. Did you think it was a bit on the nose when they literally had her fighting herself in the whole program?
Yes. At the end, yes, I did.
Yeah, that was the one bit that I was kind of like.
It's okay to be a little bit on the nose every once in a while.
It works. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Star Trek is a masterclass in subtlety.
Yeah, maybe not. So yeah, Justin, what thoughts on Boimler? And I was going to say, I think it's not just Boimler that gets something to do in this episode. I think all of the main 4 lower decksers, shall we say, perhaps without necessarily being Boimler included, get something to do. So what do you make of the fact that Rutherford sees, he's so excited to tell the chief engineer what he really thinks of him, and then it turns out it's just praising him, which I think is really, it's a nice subversion.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It's a nice subversion of the, because like we've seen it like a million times of, like you think of like Hollow Pursuits or any like there's a laundry list of examples of basically of Star Trek episodes where someone's like, oh, what's that? I can use the holodeck to create real people. Well, I'm gonna tell them how I really feel without consequences, and then Rutherford basically being like, I'm gonna say all the nice things I would want to say to you, but
they bond.
I like.
I love that, and I have to say, it ended up being a somewhat more controversial thing than I expected when the episode came out. But what do we make of the idea of Tendy's kind of cultural insensitivity comments about not all Orions are, horrible thieving pirates? A lot of us are, but not all of us. Jason, I'll have to come to you for that one, I think.
I don't know. I never really thought it was that controversial. I mean, whenever you said controversial, I thought you were going to talk about how everybody thought that Dr. T'Ana said a slur to Boimler.
Oh, yeah.
And
but she didn't.
No, she didn't. They actually went the extra mile, and they released the uncensored version where she used the F word instead.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just funny. I don't know. But as for Tendi, I don't know. I liked the fact that for the series, she was trying to distance herself from her heritage, but ends up embracing it so many times.
Yeah.
I think with another season or 2, they could have really done something with that. But of course, Paramount sucks, and we can't have that because we can't have nice things.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just remember. I think there was definitely somebody that came out with something, a small kind of essay or a visual video of some kind that was not very happy with Tendi in terms of representation of like. I can't remember what it was, but it was like the Orions as a metaphor. They are kind of being very half-assed about, well, a lot of them are exactly these kind of cliches and things that you say they are, but I'm not. So, yay. I probably should have done some research, but I can't remember exactly what the issues were. But yeah, I can't say I see them personally. It doesn't really bother me. And like I said, I think it's again, just an interesting subversion that Tendi isn't like what we kind of think of as the Orion stereotype, and especially as you go on through the series, as you said. So, I'm fine with it. You were going to say, Justin, sorry, did you have thoughts on Tendi?
No, I was going to say, I'm probably going to sound really dense by asking this question, but are the Orions like supposed to be some sort of representation or metaphor for like an actual, like real, like community that we have here on Earth or something? Is there a metaphor that I'm missing with the Orions?
I don't think there's a universally agreed metaphor. I think it's just that certain people read it in a certain way. And again, I think a lot of people take fictional species very much too seriously sometimes, perhaps.
I think that's.
I'm guilty of it too. I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say? You're the.
No, I was gonna say I'm guilty of it too because I got really offended during the Strange New Worlds episode 4.5 Vulcans because I was just like, the Vulcans don't work like that.
No, I was gonna say that's both the beauty and the curse of all like art and writing and whatever, is that there's the intent that the creator has, and then there's the interpretation and the takeaway that that the audience has, that which isn't always necessarily the same, and so then it becomes this garble. Like sometimes there's a bit of a disagreement, but yeah. So
I don't want to seem insensitive if somebody does see something that's there and it bothers them, then fair enough. But I certainly don't think that was the intent, and I think it's perhaps a bit of a stretch in this instance. I mean, like I said, it's all done for humor anyway. It's lower decks. It's what they do, isn't it? So
yeah, I know they don't take anything like everything was it's all good-natured ribbing at the end of the day. That's
exactly, yeah. Including at Star Trek and its various tropes as well, which, as I said, is one of the things I like about this. So the last question I have on the writing then is, how do we feel about the big reveal that we finally find out? It's, I think, 2 or 3 episodes from the end of the season, and we now have people learning that Mariner and Freeman are mother and daughter. Were we shocked at the time? Were we happy to see this plotline developing? Justin, I'll ask you that first.
I mean, I guess not, particularly. I mean, maybe it's. I mean, never mind. It's been a few. It was so long ago at this point that just kind of it doesn't really feel like it's a. It's like when you rewatching Empire Strikes Back for the 50th time, it doesn't hit you quite the same as it probably did all those years ago. So
it's
like
yeah,
I think where it's like it's not. It wasn't like whoa. That's like my very best Keanu Reeves right there.
I think it was more just that there was so much in the episode already, and then it progressed the story along in such a big way at the end of it that I was like, oh, wow, okay. So did you feel the same way, Jason, or did that kind of go over your head a little bit?
I'm glad that they did not stretch out that particular storyline longer than it needed to. I mean, this was the second to last episode of the season, or the second. I can't remember exactly where this falls in the season.
It's either second or it's either penultimate or anti-penultimate, I should say. So,
yeah, it's penultimate. I checked. Sorry.
By the next episode, Boimler tells Mariner, "Oh, I know that your mom is the captain," and within seconds, everybody on the ship knows it. And so I'm glad that was not drawn out. I liked the way that they're just like, yeah, it's out now. It's Pandora's box. We can't put it back in now. So I agree. It was the first step towards secret catastrophe, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing I have to say on the writing is that I just have to. I don't know why this makes me laugh so much. Perhaps because it is kind of a holodeck reference coupled with humor. But the fact that the episode ends with just hologram Da Vinci shooting someone and saying, "Not on a Da Vinci's watch," just made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
I cannot explain why, but it was so funny. That was probably the joke of the episode for me. So, well, do you guys have any thoughts at all on the writing then before I move us on that we haven't mentioned?
Brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really a lot to go into, being that, this is an animated episode and whatever else, but we should dive quickly into the acting in the episode. And just, I just want to ask if you guys have a highlight of the voice acting that you think worked really well in the episode. And again, Jason, I'll come to you first on this one.
Oh my gosh. Tawny Newsome just kills it every single episode as Beckett, because I mean, Mariner could have been such an annoying character. But Tawny Newsome gives her a soul to where I'm not annoying just to be annoying. Look at me, how fast I talk. She gives Mariner this soul where you see that underneath it all is somebody who's very insecure about herself, and she doesn't know where she is.
Yeah.
And Tawny Newsome does not get enough praise for the spectacular job that she did with this character.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's one of Star Trek's strengths. I think as we learned when she wrote a great episode of Starfleet Academy that she briefly cast herself in as well. I think she's a credit to Star Trek, and one of many people that it's a shame probably won't be working on the show in future, along with the likes of Aaron Waltke or Mike McMahon. I think these are people that we should be, cultivating, I think, is for want of a better word. So, but yeah, again, Paramount don't have a freaking clue, unfortunately. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's Tawny Newsome's episode, and she does a great job of having the little mini breakdown and coming to the realization at the end and not liking the therapy. Special shout out to a favorite comedy actor of mine, Paul F. Tompkins, who I think debuts in this as Dr. Miglimo, the food-obsessed bird therapist, who is, he's just so funny. He gets barely anything in the episode, but you are being a pineapple right now. It's just so bloody stupid, but funny along with it. I think that is where it veers a little bit into Family Guy in space, but it kind of works anyway, because I just find it amusing, and they've cast well. So that'll be my 2 cents on the acting. And of course, everybody does a great job. The rest of the cast are no slouches either. So what about you, Justin? What are your thoughts on the voice acting?
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to add on to the Tawny love that we all have by saying that, I think, it's probably thanks in part to Tawny's performance that my dad, of his own volition, fully admits to being a Mariner.
Nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stems from that he, especially when he was younger, had the same dynamic with his parents that she does with Captain Freeman, which basically, never disobey me again. I do what I want. That was pretty much.
Joke's on you. I love the brig. I'm going to my favorite place, man.
I'm gonna dance in your blood. That is very much, and I will say, without maybe to keep with the psychological thing, Mariner is very much like my dad at several points in this episode where he's like, what? You think I need therapy? No! And that sort of thing. And also that line of, I want you to stop treating me like I'm the bad guy all the time. You are the bad guy. No, I'm not. Why don't you ever side with me? Like, that is almost one for one an exact exchange I've had in my house growing up. But
worrying, but maybe we should send you to see Dr.
I will say this. He is a good person. He's a good guy. I will fully, just, like, same thing, like Mariner. Like, they're both good people. They just sometimes can be a bit much for some.
And I think that relates to just a second what Jason was saying. I think that's a lot of that is Tony Newsom giving that the kind of soul and making her, even when she's not explicitly making it clear that she's doing this for the moral good, I suppose you can kind of sense that with her because it's well acted. So, yeah. I'll move us along then to the next section because, again, there's not a lot to say about this, but in terms of direction, visual effects and appearance, the episode is directed by Bob Suarez, who, again, I'm not that familiar with. And I haven't got a lot to say except that we've already mentioned, but I like the touch of the J.J. Abrams lens flare reference in the animation. I like the signatures at the end as a reference to Star Trek 6, which, again, Jason already picked up on. So, and again, the animation style, I always liked it, but you can kind of tell it does even improve as it goes throughout the 5 seasons of Lower Decks, and this is season 1, which isn't to say it looks bad at all. It's still fantastic, but it's not as good as it would get or as crisp and clean as it would get as we go on. And that's all really I have to say about that. Do you have any thoughts on that, Justin?
No, I mean, it's it's all great stuff with the animation, especially when it comes to the cinematic. They have that chef's kiss touch of making it look like a animated movie, so to speak, or like a live action movie but done in animation. You know what I mean.
Adding the film grain and then having the actual widescreen bar ratio, I think, on it is great visual touches as well. Even if you don't notice it, the visual language tells you, oh, it's film. So using the holodeck, I mean, that's again within itself is quite genius. Using the holodeck to be, we're watching a movie, but we can live in it. So again, I think it was one of the things Lower Decks perhaps could have even went further with. Yet again, if it had gotten more seasons, it could have done so much with the holodeck, because when you have it animated instead of having to do stuff live action, you can really go nuts. And I think they kind of were quite restrained with it as it was just starting out. But never mind. What about you, Jason? Any thoughts on the kind of visuals or the direction of the episode?
I think that they nailed the movie look perfectly. I mean, if they were to ever make a Lower Decks movie, this is what it would look like, because it was just all the visual details were just turned up to 11, and it was amazing. I mean, I have nothing but praise for the animation in this episode.
Awesome. I should say that there is I think it's on the Series 5 Blu-ray set. There's an interview with Mike McMahon where he says if he got the chance, he would love to do a Lower Decks movie, even if it was just a one-off kind of last thing, last roll of the dice, because he thinks the cast are all well cast enough that they could play the roles in live action, or you could even do it kind of a mix of live action and animated. And I think I was having this discussion with, it probably was with DK, my co-host, actually, on the silver screen, that I said, wouldn't it be interesting if they did a Crisis Point 3 as a feature-length movie, but it turned into live action whenever they entered the holodeck?
So it was kind of awesome.
Just like those old scientists when they go through the portal and they become live action.
Yeah, exactly. But like the holodeck parts are the live action parts, so it's like the movie within the movie, I guess. Is that kind of as it plays up? But they can still keep it animated for the stuff that's on the ship or whatever. You
want to talk about a movie that would confuse the heck out of the critics?
Well, exactly.
I will say, if there was ever a movie that came off as being made for a very specific, super niche group of people, but that got released on in theaters across the country, it would be that.
Well, it doesn't have to be in theaters. I mean, you could release it to streaming or whatever. And again, I mean, you're coming off the back of Section 31. It's going to look like Citizen Kane no matter what the fuck you put out, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect. That would be also a comedy, like a Star Trek comedy after such a soul-sucking endeavor.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah, I think it could work. I'd love to see it anyway. But yeah. So anyway, the next section that I have then is the music and sound, which again I haven't got a lot about. I noticed it was the epic kind of opening theme, the version, the Lower Decks theme, I should say, in a kind of epic movie version when the film started that I appreciated, and the same thing again during the ship flyby as a kind of movie reference. And the final fight, it got kind of very epic into almost TOS fight style music. But that was kind of all I spotted. Did you guys pick up on anything from music and sound? I know it's probably very specific and niche, but Justin, did you have anything that you wanted to mention?
No, it was like James Horner came back to life for a day to work, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Jerry Goldsmith. It's like they came back and they collab, and that I don't think I can give it higher praise than that.
Yeah, I should credit the composer. I think his name is Chris Westlake, who does the music for Lower Decks, because he is referenced in one of these 2 episodes when it mentions what's his name, Ransom's friends. He says his best friends on the ship are Nurse Westlake, Matt the whale, and someone else. I forget the other one, but it's like, okay, cool. So because we were mentioning the whales earlier as well, you've got to give them their respect. Anyway, Jason, any thoughts on the music or the sound of the episode?
I mean, the music was fantastic. I mean, it's just the big screen adaptation of the Lower Decks theme song was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. I loved it.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll move to our next section then, which is the favorite character moment and line that I like to do. Then we can give our conclusions and scores, and then move on to Crisis Point 2. So yeah, first of all, favorite character moment and line. I'm going to go around and ask, and Justin, because you know what to expect, so I'm going to ask you first for these 3 things.
Okay, yeah. I feel like we've neglected to maybe bring up Boimler's B story. No pun intended, Boimler, but he does have a B story in this episode. But something that does basically speak to my soul is when he's talking to the holographic Captain Freeman, and he just goes, how can I be the man, Captain? I want to be the man. Which is basically me whenever I like the subtext of me talking to any superior ever when I'm asking for like life or career advice. Basically, it's like or same way. Where do you want me to see myself in 5 years? Like that.
Whereas I'm more like him when he actually comes to the interview and he's trying not to deal with the whole revelation, and it's just like, Mariner, she's hot. I mean, no, damn it. Ah!
Yeah. AKA me, the first time I ever met Jonathan Frakes at a convention.
Fair enough.
It's like, like the first time I was like, I think you may have been the person who helped me realize I was queer. He's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah.
And he was like, my leg only does that over a chair, buddy.
No, thank God I met at another convention like a year later, and he clearly didn't remember me. I've never been so thankful I've never been so thankful that I didn't make an impression.
Oh my gosh, that'd been funny. It's like, hey, I remember you. You're the guy I made queer.
Yeah, exactly. I would have turned red and then just ran away. I would have been like, meet you. I would have Boimlered it all over again. I just would have been like,
Oh man. So yeah, I got a bit lost in there. What was your favorite character moment?
Okay, I think if I had to, maybe because it's the cherry on top, it's the last exchange is when he says, how can I be the man, Captain? I want to be the man.
Cool.
Because I relate to that. It's Jack Quaid's line delivery, A++, no notes, 10 out of 10.
Awesome. And did you give a character in a moment? Sorry, I got lost completely in there.
I think I may have inadvertently cast a broad stroke wide net with all the. I guess Boimler throughout all of the 3rd act.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's your moment and your character. We'll log that then for now. So yeah, Jason, over to you. Do you have a favorite character moment and the line for the episode?
Oh my goodness. I remember the part that I don't know. It's such a strange thought, but whenever Rutherford goes to engineering to tell Hollow Billups what he thinks of him,
yeah,
I remember watching that, and I don't know, but my brain became over analytical, and I thought, does Rutherford have a crush on Billups? Is that what they're saying here? And then I realized, no, that's not what they're saying at all. It's just that Rutherford has a genuine admiration for this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was something about the fact that one man can show admiration for somebody else and it not be sexual or something like that. I thought that is such a cool statement to make in today's society, because
for sure.
we have this such a awful wave of toxic masculinity that just waves through everything. And I actually think that having this this relationship between Rutherford and Billups that is built on just admiration and trust and nothing else was quite the statement. I think it was one of the more powerful statements that Lower Decks made, because it was so understated. And so that's a weird choice for one of my favorite moments, but there it is.
That's fine. That's great. And do you have a favorite character for the episode and a line that stands out, if any?
Oh my goodness. Probably watching poor Boimler try so hard to earn the respect of the holographic crew to the point where the ship is a handsome lady. Yes, she is. Oh, handsome.
Note that down.
Call the ship a handsome lady.
Thank you.
There was something so hilariously pathetic about that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So that's a pretty good line to choose then.
You don't see somebody rehearsing kissing ass like that a whole lot. I found that so funny.
And so was Boimler your choice of favorite character for the episode, or?
That's my favorite line. My favorite character is still Mariner.
Okay, cool.
I just love everything she does in this episode. Just the more and more unhinged she gets, I just love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, get ready, because we're going to have to do all this again for part 2.
Okay, I'm mentally logging also the note about rehearsing ass kissing, because I fully own up to the fact I do that.
So you are the Boimler.
Yeah, I told you, like, he's pretty much me, where like I wouldn't put it past myself to use a holographic rehearsal for a job interview. I wouldn't put it past me, like, in that. I mean, if it's there and you can use it, I mean, maybe it's also saying I need to work on myself, but
we'll keep
therapy.
It moving anyway. Exactly. So my favorite things. My favorite character, I just said, everybody gets a nice little plot, but it's Mariner's story and crucial to her ongoing arc. I've already mentioned my favorite moment. It was the Da Vinci ending, because it just made me howl. And my favorite line is the exchange between Rutherford and holographic Shax. They'll respond exactly the way they would in real life. Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? Don't talk to me. I'm pissed off. Well, amazing. We had that exact conversation an hour ago.
Oh, yeah.
Love Shaq so much.
Oh, how can you not? Dude came back from the dead.
Exactly. Tell the prophets. Anyway, we will get to our audience interaction at the end of both episodes, because I asked for both. And so we'll just give our conclusions and scores then to wrap up Crisis Point 1. And Justin, did you want to go first with your conclusion and score?
This is out of 5, right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I say 5 out of 5. Like I said, no notes. A great, hilarious, perfect, loving homage, good-natured ribbing to seemingly every single Star Trek movie, and the tropes and cliches. And so, I mean, just perfect. I would say keep doing what you're doing, but Paramount won't allow it. So, but I mean, in the timeline where Paramount doesn't suck, keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Fair enough. So how about you then, Jason? Do you have a conclusion of any kind and a score out of 5?
I mean, this is a great tribute to Star Trek movies. It's done perfectly. It's done with love, but at the same time, it's not afraid to point out what is silly about them. And it's got character progression that I really enjoy with characters that I love. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Okay, awesome. So let me just... That's going to be fine. I've got my conclusion here then, if I can pull it up, which I have. This episode, I said, packs a lot into 26 minutes, and it's very impressive. The runtime can make the pace feel a little bit like a breakneck speed run of character arcs, and it's also less of a self-contained story and more of a puzzle piece and a collection of ongoing plots and character journeys. But those are mainly limitations of the format rather than faults of this specific episode. What I love is that all 4 of the main characters get meaningful arcs, and they've all experienced growth by the end. Mariner comes to terms with her inner conflict. Tendi confronts her friend's racial prejudice. Rutherford overcomes his shyness and bonds with his hero. And Boimler learns that some secrets are bigger than your career. Wrapping all of these stories inside a holodeck movie that both celebrates and gently critiques Star Trek's cinematic legacy is frankly borderline genius. It allows the show to venture outside the lines just as the characters do and experiment without having to worry about lasting consequences. The fact there was a direct sequel proves that this experiment paid off, but that's a different story. And I give it 4.5 out of 5, just slightly less generous than you guys, but still very good. So yeah, putting those together, dividing by the three of us here, gives a final score then for Crisis Point of 4.8 out of 5, which I think puts it second place on the leaderboard. So not too bad at all. So we are racing the clock here, so I will move us quickly on to Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus, which is simply Boimler's holodeck movie sequel, tries to live up to the original. Not really much else we can say there. We'll get into the rest of it as we go. And once again, we've got Poetry Corner here. So I'm going to start with I'll start with my limerick this time, because that way it gets it out the way before Jason potentially gives a better one. So here we go. My limerick for Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus. Boimler's the star of the show, while Tendy's leadership skills grow. Brad's as sad as a sigh, but wait, is it? Oh my. The meaning is, go with the flow. I had to get a bit of a Sulu reference in there as well. So, yeah. So then, Jason, over to you. Do you have a poetry of any kind for Crisis Point 2?
Absolutely. Crisis Point 2, Paradoxus. Boimler built a secret I got to start over. I messed up here.
No problem.
Boimler built a sequel grand. Then death walked in and wrecked the plan. Through stars, through time, through cosmic goo, he chased big answers, strange and true. Tindy found her pirate spark while Rutherford cheered through the dark. And in the end, Trek's truth came through. The meaning's friends and snacks and Sulu.
Oh, nice. I was waiting for the Sulu drop as soon as I sensed the rhyme scheme. Very good. Very nice.
Oh, my.
Awesome.
This is an interesting episode because it's actually the only time in Star Trek that Sulu says the words, oh my.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's the only time he ever says that.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I feel like it was only a matter of time.
Yeah. I think it's great because, everybody associates those two words with him, but he never said that in Star Trek. He said it in on the Howard Stern show and in some Disney Channel episodes, never on Star Trek. So they finally got him to say it on an episode of Star Trek.
It's one of those things like nobody ever said "beam me up, Scotty," but it's just become kind of cultural lexicon, hasn't it? And,
exactly.
The one that always bugs me is that nobody actually says "mirror, mirror on the wall," but everyone just assumes that they did because it's become so established. She says "magic mirror on the wall." Anyway,
Yeah.
move on from there. So I have the behind the scenes for this episode, and again, there's such a lot because it packs a lot in. So I'm going to try and get to it as quick as I can. Again, if you want to interrupt, feel free. This episode didn't have a standard title card that was traditionally shown at the opening of the first act. The in-universe opening sequence of the holodeck movie features its own title card that nearly matches the name of the real-world episode, although being slightly nitpicky, it uses the Roman numeral 2 instead of the number 2. That really is very geeky. As in Crisis Point 1, the episode is presented in the wider 2.39:1 aspect ratio during the holodeck movie sequences, but the aspect ratio is, again, limited to the holodeck only. When characters exit to the real world, it switches to the series' regular 16:9 ratio. In fact, and I love this, Mariner has to step over the black bar to exit the holodeck.
I noticed.
Also, as in Crisis Point, obviously film grain effect is added to the holodeck sequences, and a Q mark can be seen in the upper right-hand corner of the frame at one point, which is a nice touch. The opening credits and the font used for the location names are drawn from Wrath of Khan. The planet Tatashaw 9 is named after Shax's voice actor, Fred Tatashaw. The holo program, Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus, references a number of Star Trek movies. Buckle in, because here we go. The Sovereign-class USS Wayfarer arrives to save the Cerritos during its battle with the Valdor-type warbird, alluding to several elements of the battles in Star Trek First Contact and Nemesis. The Kazinti con officer interrupts Freeman's incomplete order for the crew to escape pods with Captain, incoming ship. It's the Wayfarer, again echoing the Defiance con officer in First Contact. And Boimler's declaration, of course, of the Titan arriving in no small parts. The Melpinar triplets are a reference to the Duras sisters, Lursa and Betor, two recurring characters who were the secondary antagonists in Star Trek Generations. Mariner's line about the movie having a time travel plot and that it will involve the assassination of John F. Kennedy, I didn't know this, is a direct reference to Gene Roddenberry's scrap plot idea for an initial sequel to Star Trek The Motion Picture, in which the Klingons would have used the Guardian of Forever to travel back in time to thwart the Kennedy assassination, leaving the crew of the Enterprise to set things right. I had no idea that was ever pitched, but fascinating. When Boimler describes part of the plot to Mariner about how the Romulans intend on using the Chronogami to rewrite any part of history, Mariner asks if that means it makes a cinematic alternate universe that runs concurrent to their own, but with other people playing younger versions of themselves, referencing, of course, the 2009 Star Trek film and its setting in the Narada incursion reality. I did love that as well. And then I think it's Tendy just going, that would be a bit of a stretch, scientifically speaking. The stopover at the Europa lab has many similarities to Wrath of Khan. The lab itself is similar to Regular One, including the Zabruki Turnbow drive, aka the most important device in the universe. You'd have to ask somebody geekier than me. I have no idea. I'm just reading what it said on Star Trek Memory Alpha. Dr. Gibson and her estranged relationship with Dagger resembles that of Carol Marcus and James Kirk, and the briefing video's production style resembles the Genesis device briefing video. Gibson's attire is also resembling that of Carol Marcus. The Wayfarer and Cerritos crews following the Romulans back in time to prevent their damage is similar to the Enterprise E crew following the Borg back in First Contact. The algae crisis plot of an aquatic species helping to avert a disaster is similar to the humpback whales, helping to prevent an alien probe destroying Earth in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. The exterior shot of Starfleet headquarters near the Golden Gate Bridge, which was originally created for Star Trek IV and has been reused in Next Gen Conspiracy and Voyager Non Sequitur. The Romulan bomb design is the same as the Thalaron generator from Star Trek Nemesis. The quest to find the meaning of life and the godlike entity of Kit-Ti-Ha is similar to Cybok's quest to find Shaka-Ree and the godlike entity that inhabited it in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Knick-Knack blowing up the wall of the brig to free Boimler and Mariner is similar to Scotty doing the same for Kirk, Spock, and McCoy in Star Trek V. The third moon of Shatanari is similar to the name Shaka-Ree from The Final Frontier. Shaka-Ree was an allusion to Sean Connery, who was considered to be cast in the role of Cybok. Shatanari obviously alludes to William Shatner, whom writer Ben Rogers had considered for this episode, as I think we could probably tell when they arrive at Kirk's farm. The reveal of Kitty-Ha being the evolution of the Kitty Hawk Flyer parallels the reveal of V'Ger being the evolution of Voyager 6 from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Boimler dreams of being on Kirk's ranch in Idaho with Hikaru Sulu and asks if he's in the Nexus. This ranch appeared to Kirk and Picard when they were in Star Trek Generations in the Nexus. Boimler dealing with the death of his transporter clone is similar to Picard dealing with the loss of his brother and nephew to a house fire in Star Trek Generations. Don't ask why he didn't just ask to go back before that when the Nexus asked him to, but, we'll say no more about that. Ransom says that William Boimler was killed by a leak of neurocene gas, the same program used by the counterinsurgency program in DS9's Civil Defense. Boimler says he should have stayed a raisin farmer and married Leanne, a reference back to the Holodecks episode Grounded. William Boimler asking the Section 31 agent why a clandestine organization would use a special comm badge references Star Trek Discovery, which introduced the Section 31 comm badge in its second season at a time when Section 31 was somehow openly the official intelligence branch of Starfleet and before they went rogue. William Boimler secretly defects from Starfleet for Section 31. The first known transporter clone, Thomas Riker, defected from Starfleet to join the Maquis. So the similarity there. Much of the dialogue is very meta with constant nods to common critiques and feelings among fans. Mariner's constant complaints at Boimler's movie not understanding the original, favouring action and aesthetics over emotional substance, going so far to call it an uneven slog that ignores the successes of the original, claiming that it is so inaccurate that it doesn't even fit into the Crisis Point franchise, were common criticisms of the J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek movies. All four characters are actually similar to the common Star Trek fan archetypes and how they relate to the series. Boimler searches for the meaning of life in something meant for casual entertainment. Rutherford casually enjoys the experience and doesn't take it too seriously. Tendi becomes overly attached to the characters and the plot, treating it though it's real. And Mariner constantly critiques and nitpicks every single thing as not being authentic to the original franchise. So, controversial. Do we think that's true about the... I'm reading from Memory Alpha, but do we think that is a kind of fair thing that they're doing here, representing the different types of Star Trek fan and their various nitpicks? Jason, I'm going to throw that question to you, because why not?
Oh, sure, I could see that. I think a lot of the humor is self-referential. I don't really know if they go a whole lot into it, but I definitely see it. I see it more as Crisis Point 2, at least. I see it more as what happens when you go off script. What happens when you go the direction nobody expects you to. We see that whenever Boimler does just wander off and all of these NPCs have to basically adapt, but they're terrible at it. I also kind of liked the I liked the explanation that the holodeck continually adapts during these types of programs, that no matter what you do, it'll end up adapting to your actions and keep the story going.
Yes.
I don't know. There was just something about that I found very appealing and kind of neat. And I was just like, I want to know more about this completely unrelated thing they just talked about, because that's just how my brain works.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah, for sure.
I think that the commentary on the different types of fans were more is more of a meta commentary on Star Trek than anything else. I don't really think that they explored it that well.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that well, that deeply. I don't really think that was their intention.
Yeah, I think it might have been, but as you say, more kind of a surface level type thing, because like Crisis Point 1, it does make a lot of meta references and pokes fun at some things and everything as well in the Star Trek universe. Whether it's successful or not, we'll find out during the the review part at the end, I guess. But yeah, so did you have any initial thoughts on the episode when you first watched it, or overall thoughts that you wanted to bring up first here, Jason?
Oh boy, they're doing another Crisis Point was my impression. Because as soon as I saw they were doing another Crisis Point, I was hooked. I was like, yes, this is what I want. I want more of this. And it did not disappoint, especially whenever that beautiful Sovereign class showed up with the best registry name ever. I don't know if you guys noticed the registry number was 80085.
It's
I did not notice.
Boobs.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
And I just thought, yes, this episode gets me.
That one went completely by me, but I loved it. Now I'm going to look that up completely. First thing I'm doing when we leave this podcast is look up that shit. Awesome.
Because that is such a Boimler thing to do.
Of course it is.
And he probably didn't even realize he was doing it.
Or it's a Mariner thing and she just reprogrammed it for a laugh.
Oh, sure. I can see Mariner doing that.
You'll not even notice.
I feel like that's Mariner trolling. I think Boimler would be too much of a stiff to be that whimsical about his registry numbers.
Awesome. So, what are your initial thoughts on the things we mentioned, the episode overall, your initial impressions of it, or, how it kind of represents the Star Trek archetypes and pokes fun? Justin, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, like I echo, again, all of them. It's like I saw they're doing another Crisis Point. I was just like, yay! And, and all throughout from beginning to end, I was like, yay! And I echo all the sentiments.
Cool. Well, before we move on, I'll quickly give my haiku before I forget, and then we can move on to talking about the writing of the episode. So my haiku, to try and sum up Crisis Point 2, is Crisis Point sequel, Brad's under the microscope, finds meaning in life. That one, I really struggled with that one because it was hard to sum up what it was trying to say. But yeah, I think I got there in the end. So yeah, the writing, as I said, is by the same writer, Ben Rogers. And again, we've just got to reference all the various things of the Star Trek Easter eggs and things. Is there anything that we haven't already mentioned that you liked particularly about this, Justin?
Yeah, I will admit there were some things where I'm like, is that even a... Excuse me. I'm like, is that even a Star Trek reference? Like, Knick Knack is a character from James Bond, for one thing.
It is, yeah. I don't think that was deliberate or intentional. I think it was just a weird-looking alien that they wanted to come up with for the for Boimler's kind of program of things. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the way that they reference this as being such fan fiction, and that you've got to have a big third act reveal, some romance, do the Kirk thing. There's things like the rock creatures that were going to be in Star Trek 5 or the punks from Star Trek 4. So I think, and then of course the very nice meta thing of like, it's a Starfleet movie, which means it's worth doing, which I think is a nice nod to like even the worst Star Trek films are still Star Trek films and they're great. So I liked that. And the idea of looking for meaning, I think was quite nice. I didn't think it was overly, highfalutin or anything. So what about you, Jason? What your thoughts on the writing and the way it kind of represents Star Trek movies again?
Oh, man. If I had to praise the writing of this episode for anything, it would be the way that they seg into Boimler's existential crisis at his transporter duplicate getting killed.
Yeah.
I really think that this is probably some of the best character work they ever did with Boimler. Because you do see him for the first time, really. I know he's confronted danger before. I know that he has had his life in danger, but this is really the first time that he has confronted death, at least death in a way that the character did not come back. And I know that William comes back later, but I really enjoyed how it leaned into his existential crisis and his search for meaning, and did not become sappy and respected his journey throughout it all.
Yeah.
Especially whenever he finds the kitty hawk and it doesn't make any sense. And he just loses his mind. And it's done that it's true to Boimler. It's true to this screamy, whiny guy. But at the same time, you just feel this absolute desperation. Like I needed to know why this mattered. And you're telling me it's the kitty hawk and it doesn't make any sense. And then of course there's that wonderful scene with George Takei.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I loved that as well. There's just the writing in this episode is top notch. Not only is it funny, but it's also very deep and true to these characters. And I think that's what made Lower Decks so special in the first place, is that it was funny, but at the same time it had respect for its characters.
Yes, 100%. And I think for the audience as well, even if it does poke fun at times. So yeah. Anything you wanted to add to that, Justin?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that I actually do, again, as the Boimler of the panel. I did like when Boimler at the Kitty Hawk reveal. Honestly, is me either rereading my own screenplays, pilots, or listening back to a stand-up set where I bombed. It's like, oh my god, it's trash. It doesn't have a deeper meaning, and neither does life. And that sort of thing. And and I totally related to his basically like doing side quests in order to find the deeper meaning of life, very easily doing the again, ADHD, we love to do the side quests. And so again, just another reason why I related. So I continue to relate to Boimler for better or worse. And
absolutely, yeah. No, I'll just second everything you guys have already said. I like that it fed into Boimler's character growth this time in the way that it did for Mariner for Crisis Point 1. It was Boimler's search for meaning, but he didn't find it in the movie because you wouldn't find it in movies. I think that's kind of perhaps the underlying message. So he gets enraged at that, and then again you have that lovely scene with George Takei, which I really liked as well. I have to say it was very heartfelt and very nice. So the only other thing I wanted to shout out is the line at the start. And if we're talking about kind of poking fun at Star Trek tropes in a kind of affectionate way, when the scientist woman just spouts out a whole load of gubbins, and then Mariner just goes, "Yeah, Doc, you don't want to use that many made-up words in a row." It's just very techno-babble of Star Trek. So the very last thing I'll mention then about the writing on this one, what did you guys think about Tendy's growth? Because she gets as good of a plot, I would say, as important as she's kind of leaning into wanting to be a leader and realizing she wants to be a captain and take it seriously. Justin, thoughts on that?
I appreciate that for her. I love that for her. I feel like that's actually been like a whole part of her journey, like throughout the show, is going from she's always been like a bit of that she's like she's from pirates, but she also wants to be she's in medical and sciences, and so to see her come into her own like that, I love that for her.
Yeah, I think that's the point. She didn't really know where she fit in, and now she realizes she could be a leader, and it is something to aim for, and she can take it seriously. It's really good, and it's a good performance as well by Noelle Wells, since we will talk about the voice acting in a second. So yeah, what are your overall thoughts on Tendy's arc then, Jason?
I think that it is another reason why it's absolutely tragic we don't have more seasons of this series, because that is one thing I would love to have seen what they were planning on doing with it. Seeing Tendy climb up the command ladder and becoming the leader that she is destined to become. I thought that was fantastic, and we'll never see where that goes, and I think that stinks.
Yeah, I think it is a great, again, right, we say this word a lot, but a great subversion of the idea of the kind of cutesy, caring character that you would think, oh, she's going to be a medic or a scientist. And it's like, no, I have what it takes to be in command. I can face the tough choices and things as well, So, again, it would have been fascinating to see. And I do like that we got a little bit of that before Lower Decks was unceremoniously axed, but it's a shame we didn't get more, as you said. So, yeah, so moving to the voice acting, then I've already praised Noelle Wells. I have nothing but praise for Jack Quaid in general, just because he's a great actor in multiple things, including, several of my favorite movies and The Boys and whatever else. But again, the way he kind of channels the frustration of Boimler in this episode, I think is very good and kind of a high point. What about you, Justin? Any thoughts on the voice acting?
Yeah, no, same. You gave the great shout out to Jack Quaid. Always, the cast is always, at the top of their game. They never feel like they're phoning it in. So, I have nothing but, again, 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, fair enough. Jason, would you say the same?
I think that Jack Quaid in particular deserves praise for this episode because he could have easily just done the usual Boimler stuff and made it goofy and silly and isn't Boimler funny, but underneath all that he's got this wonderful tragic arc where he's trying to understand the futility of existence basically. And he manages to do that, but at the same time he manages to keep it Boimler, which I think is great, because I think that if Boimler had gone completely serious at one point, I don't think we would have accepted it. And I think the best example of this is his conversation with Sulu. Because he is talking about very deep things, but at the same time, he's still Boimler.
Absolutely, yeah.
The horse is going to bite you now.
I was going to say, in the show itself, it gets into that deep territory and then just ends with the horse is going to bite you as a gag, which is just so fun. But I did just make exactly the same note as you. I just said that Jack Quaid really convinces me about Boimler's sadness without ever losing the character and becoming a different person. So, yeah, high praise. So we may as well deal with directing, VFX, production, appearance, music, sound, all of that stuff, because there's not a lot to say. I echo what you said, that the Sovereign class ship in this animation style looks gorgeous. We're on season 3 by now. I like Tendi doing her cinematic kind of flip over the I guess anti-gravity bike things that they're on. That was very Star Trek as an action movie type thing. I like this is such a geeky, nitpicky sort of type thing, but I like the fact that they reused a freighter design for the ship, even though they didn't have to because it's animated. But it's kind of a reference to the way that there are certain set freighters that like 17 different species have because they just reuse the model. That's just like, wow, I appreciate that.
Well, those models are expensive, though.
Yeah, exactly. So that was some of the stuff I had, and then music and sound. I just noticed the kind of first contact swell when the Wayfarer enters. Push the air moment, which I really liked. So yeah, anything from you, Jason, on directing, appearance, or music and sound?
Again, just this episode shows restraint whenever it needs to, and you see several instances of that where, we're going to slow things down a little bit now. It does it with quite judicious restraint, and I think that in a show like Lower Decks, that's super important, and they know what they're doing here.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Any thoughts on those things from you then, Justin?
Yeah, no, something I literally just remembered, a note I had, is how I loved how they weren't afraid to reference some of the quote unquote less beloved movies, like Nemesis or like Star Trek 5 or anything like that, because I think it's very easy to see even at a casual glance that with a lot of IPs that have a similar tenure or have a decades-long run, they love to act as though the bad stuff never happened, and they just kind of and the fact that they take things like they take things like the motion picture and Star Trek 5 and Nemesis and make it like a central plot of the episode, and but like as Mariner says, all Starfleet movies are still worth making, or it's but
definitely.
So I think I love that and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
approach.
Awesome. Couldn't agree more. So we'll move on next then to I'm going to give the audience response because I did ask, as I said, for both Crisis Point 1 and 2, and I don't have a lot because for some reason the audience are not being very responsive of late, so this probably won't take very long. So let's see. We will go to our subspace communications, as I call this section.
Incoming transmission.
Wow, I really don't have much of anything. I think I literally have one thing. Yep. Okay. Well, this really won't take long because I only have one response. So again, guys, if you're out there and I do put my prompt on social media, please give your thoughts and opinions on these episodes. We need to know. But yeah, it's maybe a relief we've only got one as we're pushed for time a little bit in this episode. But this comes from Frank Fury 74 on Threads, I believe. Who says, I thought these episodes were great and did pay homage to those movies. They did work and it was fun, much like the rest of the series. Lower Decks is so good, and 4 out of 5. I presume for both of them. I think that was from Discord, actually, my mistake. So that was the extent of the audience interaction. So then we'll move on to our favorite character moment and line again. And Jason, I'm going to come to you first this time and put you on the spot.
Boimler has a very interesting line that I can't stop thinking about. And that is whenever he walks up to the farm, to the stables, and he says, "Captain Kirk?" And Sulu turns around, "Oh my, no, it's me, Sulu." And Boimler says, "Captain Sulu, even better."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, even better? What?
I think that's a dig. I don't know this for sure, but I get the sense that they probably approached Shatner to be in the episode. He refused, and that's kind of a dig at like, well, okay, we'll get Takei then. Even better.
That was my thought, and I could just see them going up to Takei, just saying, "Mr. Takei, will you be in an episode of Lower Decks?" "Oh my, I don't know. I'm quite busy nowadays." Well, you get to have a dig against Shatner, and we have a character who says you're better than Shatner. I'll do it.
Awesome. Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that's a heck of a line to pick. Did you have a favorite character and moment then in the episode?
Oh my gosh. Probably. There's so many great moments here. Nobody would really pick these as big moments, but whenever Boimler leaves the holodeck to talk to Commander Ransom, and then comes back and he's like doesn't have the joy anymore. I think it's such a good character moment. And I actually think that Commander Ransom has a good character moment whenever he does the big reveal that, Boimler's transporter clone was killed. Because, Ransom was often treated as nothing but a joke, but you see that he actually does have fondness for his officers, and he's concerned about them. And again, that's just, I wouldn't even call that character growth. I'm just seeing the character who was always there in the first place. We've just never seen. But it's little moments like that I really enjoy.
Awesome, cool. So over to you then, Justin. Favorite character, moment, and line, if you're able.
Yeah, no, I'd say my favorite character moment. Similarly, it's with the superior choice to Kirk, Sulu at the farm, and. And when Boimler basically has his own, I feel bad. You think I do love the sentiment, even though I can't remember the exact line. But it's basically Boimler's own realization that Picard has in generations of what we leave behind is not as important as how we lived.
Exactly. Yeah. No, fair enough. That's all makes sense to me. So I'll dive into my favorites of them. I said as Crisis Point was Mariner's story, this is Boimler's, and his relatability is at its peak. So that's my choice for character. My favorite moment was the initial entry of the Wayfarer. Copy cool and you end up looking cool, I guess, because it's just a first contact reference, but yeah, it works. And my favorite line, I don't know why it stuck in my head, but my favorite line is definitely the horsey is going to bite you now. It's very random and very surreal, but this, like, as I was going to rewatch the episode, that was the line in my head that I was like, oh yeah, this is the episode with the horsey's going to bite you. Why was that in my head? But anyway, it was.
It's not only that, it's the lead up to it while Boimler is talking about his big, realization. You just see Takei's face go from smiling into just like his smile starts slowly disappearing,
playing with the bristles of the brush. Like
I've been doing Trek now for 60 years. I've heard all of this before.
And just the cleverness of the horse biting him in the neck being the hypo spray. That's waking him up.
A great transition.
And again, you just dive straight into a joke about like, get out of here. Someone just leant on the warp core and burned off of their body. We need the bed. Exactly. So yeah, fair enough. Right then, we'll just have our conclusion and our score for Crisis Point 2 to go then. So, Jason, I'm going to mix it up and start with you because I started with Justin last time. So.
Well, it's a 5 out of 5 again. I actually think that this one is more. It's actually a more effective episode than the last one. Okay. I think that this is an episode that blended humor, Star Trek love, and just good old-fashioned drama and character progression perfectly. And I have nothing but praise for it. I don't even think that it has any slow parts or parts that take away from it. I think that this is probably one of Lower Deck's best episodes, if not the best.
Awesome. Cool, fantastic. So Justin, well, top that.
Yeah, no, I'll try. But no, I will say that certainly where it's like first Crisis Point was I'd say the more fun episodes, so to speak, where I had the more fun. Where this one definitely felt more personal, and maybe also because Boimler was the focus, and Boimler is like just me for real, so I related to I related to that, but also like the fact that he did have the deeper meaning. That I feel like there was even more of it. Maybe because we spent more time with these characters, and the show has also had more time to build its own reputation and whatnot. And that definitely is reflected. That it does feel deeper, and and because of all that, but nonetheless hilarious. So yeah, perfect. No, I love it. 5 out of 5.
I had a feeling that was where you'd be going, but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Show right. These are just my opinions, but what I said was, like most sequels, I don't think this is quite as good as the original. By nature or design, it feels a little derivative and repetitive, and it loses some of the first outing's uniqueness. But for the most part, they still pull it off. Using the same trick of a holodeck program that functions as a Star Trek movie parody could easily have felt redundant, but the new jokes and ideas keep it relatively fresh. Once again, it's used to develop our core 4 characters, although in this entry, 2 of them do feel a lot more like they're simply along for the ride. That said, there's still some welcome traditional Trek-style contemplation and deeper ruminating beneath the comedy, and naturally it earns bonus points for the George Takei cameo. Oh my. Like the first part, it's part of a bigger tapestry with the cliffhanger not paying off until literally the very end of the series, but it still works as an effective love letter to the franchise, one that isn't afraid to gently poke fun at it while remaining affectionate. The result is another very entertaining half hour. With Star Trek Lower Decks gone too soon, I wouldn't be mad about a Crisis Point 3 that actually goes full feature length, as I said. And I gave it 4 out of 5. Still pretty high and pretty strong. So sorry to drag it down, but I have to say not by that much because because putting those
bitch.
Sorry. Putting those scores together, dividing by the 3 of us here gives a final score for Crisis Point 2 of 4.7, just 0.1 below the 4.8 that Crisis Point 1 got. So still fantastic high scores, I think, for Lower Decks, and testament to how good that series was, frankly. When the lowest anybody gave it anything there was 4. It's not too bad. So, yeah, we will leave the USS Cerritos behind now then and boldly trek on through our various holodeck things. Just remains for me to say thank you to everyone who joined us for this, and all the various fans and audience members who listened to it, especially if you made it all the way through. Thank you. Once again, we are desperately trying to up the views and spread the word on the podcast, so please do like, share, subscribe, send it to your friends. Interact with us on social media. You can find the links to all of our socials in the link tree in the episode description. And again, please, if I put things out and I'm asking for opinions and thoughts on the podcast, whether it be an episode we're reviewing or if a thing is a hit or a miss, interact with us. Do it on social media, do it on the YouTube comments. But let's get the let's get the podcast noticed. Everybody loves talking Trek. That's a Star Trek fan, and with the exception of some dodgy non-fans that call themselves fans, I think I always have nice conversations and communication with Trek fans. So let's do that. And yeah, let's go. We also obviously have to thank my 2 amazing guests, my co-host and guest. First of all, thank you, Justin, for joining me here again in the co-host chair.
Always a pleasure. Had fun.
Absolutely. Awesome. It was terrific. Thank you for having me.
No problem whatsoever. So, Justin, first of all, did you have anything that you want to plug lately and anywhere people can find you?
I have nothing really. I mean, I will say there was a. Yes, I know. I want to say someone in one of the episodes did say something like, okay, William Benson Jr. Oh, loved your solo show. I was like, oh, he sounds exactly like Mike. But anyway, because when you complimented me on,
I did on your what was it? Revenge of the Soy Boy. Yeah. It didn't even occur to me, but yeah, that is a line in the episode.
Yeah,
awesome.
So, but but definitely be on the lookout for that. Sorry.
I was just going to say, is there anywhere people can see that, like a recorded version of that or anything? Because it was very good. So
no, there's a version of it on YouTube. But I will say, maybe you might want to hold up because I am currently working on the hour-long version. So be on the lookout for that. Awesome. Literally doing rewrites and whatnot as we speak. So just keep your eyes peeled, your ears perked up, whatever. Your ears pointy, I guess you could say.
Awesome. Yeah, look forward to seeing that. And that's awesome. Good stuff. And congrats on that. I hope it all comes along as effectively and as well as the half-hour version ish did. So
me too.
Awesome. And Jason, I know you're basically everywhere on the internet. Is there anything specifically you wanted to plug or anywhere people can find you that you can let us write in our descriptions?
Oh my goodness. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm a attention whore, I'm everywhere. I am planning on attending Long Island Trek next year.
Ooh. And, see you there.
Awesome. I'll see you there. And I don't know anything else. Just check my socials. there's all kinds of things that are kind of brewing in the background right now, and it's I pretty much go where the wind takes me.
Awesome. And I think you're basically just the same on all socials, is that right? You're always just Jason Roy Gaston?
Yes, and because I know my friend Joe will have me skinned alive if I don't mention this, also check me out on the Captain's Quadrant, which is our Star Trek podcast. I co-host that thing with Captain Joe Dove. So please check me out there so Joe does not hurt me.
One of the best, actually. I always keep seeing you guys posting your episodes and catch various interviews and episodes and things and social media posts. So yeah, there's room for us both to live. But once you've watched and listened to our podcast, go check out Captain's Quadrant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. And did you have a good time as your first time as a guest on the show, Jace?
Oh, absolutely. I've joined you before on your movie podcast before, and I love Star Trek. I was one of my first loves and love talking about it. I love being a little autism nerd and talking about things that I obsess about.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we can get you back on either Trek or the movie podcast again, because again, you're a great guest, and it's good to talk all things geeky with you. So that was a lot of fun.
Anytime.
Awesome. And our journey will continue next week, though, as we stay animated but a little less ambitious, with a single episode review of the criminally underrated Star Trek Prodigy and the episode Kobayashi. Until then, remember, movies are not a replacement for therapy, but they can help you work some things out all the same. And of course, we are Starfleet. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
You have been listening to the Hit or Miss Star Trek podcast, part of the Hit or Miss Who Trek channel. Hit or Miss Star Trek is hosted by Mike Wilson and scripted, produced, and edited by Mike Wilson, based on an idea by Mike Wilson and Will Templar. Follow us on YouTube, your podcatcher of choice, and our social media. Links to all of these can be found by clicking on the link tree in the episode descriptions. This podcast is a Media Matters original production. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast throughout subspace. We'll be back for another thrilling trek through the stars soon, but for now, hailing frequencies closed.
Try to warp out of here at once. Maximum speed.